Okay, I want to talk a little bit about actually the most critical point of the carnivore diet. Okay, and this is something that we all need to understand. So, if we look at why we have a society of people where we have such a high obesity rates, why we have a society where chronic disease is prevalent, it really comes down to one basic fact, and it has to do with food. Okay, and so you know, the sort of the atmosphere, the environment that we're in now, we are filled with basically garbage food. We have processed, absolute junk food everywhere. We're getting more and more of that. The vegan plant-based movement is driving us to more and more of this fake meat, fake processed food, taking us away from real food, whether it's real plant food or real animal food. This is what veganism ultimately does because it drives away uh, animal, real food calories out of the diet. We have to replace it with energy. Usually it comes from sugar and seed oils. But knowing that most people are exposed to these foods and we're pressured to eat them via cultural pressures, via social pressures, via multimedia, advertising. These food manufacturers have known this for many decades now. Moskowitz, invented something called the Bliss Point, where we know the right combination of sugar, salt, and sweet would allow us to want to eat basically uncontrollably. These foods are very low in nutrition, not calories. I mean, they have calories, and calories are a nutrient, but I mean, when we look at minerals, vitamins, protein, essential fats, these foods don't have this stuff. And so it doesn't matter, why we got fat. We didn't get fat because we were, generally eating too much. We didn't get too fat because we were generally, we weren't fasting all the time. But what did happen is we replaced highly nutritious food with, complete garbage. That food we do overeat. And so, in a way, we do overeat this stuff. We know there's studies out there that indicate that overeating is often driven by these hyperpalatable foods, these processed foods. I mean, Kevin Hall's recent study shouldn't say prove that, but strongly suggests that. So the question becomes why? What do we have to master on a carnivore diet? How do we break free of that sort of vicious cycle of constantly wanting these highly tasty foods? Because let's admit it, they all taste good. I mean, I like that stuff as much as anybody else. I mean, if they were healthy, that's what I would eat because they taste damn good. And that's the problem, and they're everywhere, and we are pressured to eat them constantly. So how do you get free of that cycle? And so, we don't need to talk about protein, fat, energy ratios. We don't need to talk about, you know, intermittent fasting schedules. This stuff is something that may come in later. But at the beginning, when I talk to people, and I have a lot of people that sort of contact me for consultations on how to do a carnivore diet, one of the main things I have to get across is we have to, before anything else, before we can be successful with weight loss, with disease mitigation, for body composition, for athleticism, we have to change our relationship with food. We have to now be able to view that processed stuff, that stuff that tastes really good, that we want to eat. We have to view that as something that is not actually food or beneficial from us from a basic physiological level. Okay? You have to get that. You have to have that new relationship with food. It's not that you can never eat this stuff again the rest of your life. I'm not advocating that. But you have to have control over that. You have to be able to take it or leave it. When you don't have the right physiology, when your nutrition is lacking, it's going to be very difficult to resist that stuff. It's just the way it is. Hungry people never succeed on a diet, okay? And when it's hunger from caloric, needs or protein needs or micronutrient needs, all of those things have to be met first. And once you meet those goals, once you have a steady stream of highly nutritious food, and you get that from animal source nutrition. Now, whether you add organ meats or just eat ribeyes, I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I've been around this long enough and seen too many people that have succeeded either way. So I think the key here is going to be eating copious amounts of animal-based nutrition. I think animal fat is important. I think initially you need to get enough animal fat to restore your essential fatty acid stores if they're low. You need to make sure that you have vitamins and minerals. You get that from meat. Eating plenty of that is going to make that possible. Do that for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever it takes to change that relationship. So now you can go a day without eating if you need to. You can walk by that plate of cookies or that pizza, or you can go out to the party and not be tempted to do that. Once you have that sort of freedom then you're in a place where you can start to play. Then if you want to say, okay, I'm going to intermittent fast now, or I'm going to do an extended fast, or I'm going to eat a higher protein to fat ratio, or I'm going to eat a higher fat to protein ratio, all of those things become now accessible to them. And so if you try to do those things early on, if you go into a carnivore diet, hey, I got 30 pounds to lose, I'm a postmenopausal woman who's 30 pounds overweight, and I'm going to just, go in there and I'm going to count my calories and I'm going to restrict my macros and I'm going to limit fat and eat a high protein diet. You're going to struggle because you're not going to be satisfied from either a caloric standpoint or a nutrition standpoint. You're going to succumb to those cravings, to those temptations, to those social pressures, to the same things that always trip you up. The things where, after 3 or 4 days or a week or 2 weeks or 2 months, you decide, oh, heck, it's not worth it. I'm just going to eat that chocolate cake. Again, realize carnivore diet is not a restrictive diet in the sense that you can't eat what you want to eat. I don't want people to think that. I want people to realize that animal food is human food. That is where your nutrition comes from. At some point, if you want to have a piece of birthday cake on your child's birthday, like I sometimes do, it's okay. You've got control over that. You can take it, you can leave it. Again, this is about changing your relation with food, fundamentally changing who you are. If you realize that eating is about nutrition, it's not entertainment. You're not eating to please someone else. You're not eating because big pharma or big food is telling you what to eat. You're not listening to these dietitians who, are basically just parroting out the corporate message. This is a big thing. This is a corporate attempt. This is a corporate attempt to control food, control the message. We're seeing it. We're seeing now that we're seeing less and less push towards health because such kickback with the success of the ketogenic diets and all the people, the thousands and now millions of people that are regaining their health by eating more fat in their diet, by eating animal foods. We're seeing that day in and day out. That cannot be suppressed. And so now the next pivot point is the environment. Now we're going to say that these cows, which have been belching and farting, these ruminant animals, which have been on the earth for 50 plus million years doing their thing in far greater numbers earlier on. Certainly around 12,000 years ago, we had just as many ruminants as we do today. And prior to that, we had likely even more, not destroying the atmosphere. The methane, which we know is recyclable. We know it only spends a short time in the atmosphere and then is broken down. So we know that's not the problem. However, these processed food companies, these vegan advocates, these Beyond Meat burger shills, these pharma companies, these oil companies are going to try to push the blame there. This is what they're doing, trying to distract you, trying to get you to eat more sawdust. I posted an article on my Instagram, 31 foods that have sawdust in them. Yeah, they put this cheap garbage in there and they sell it to you and they pretend it's healthy. Yeah, eat more fiber, it's good for you. That's complete garbage. Okay, guys. So let's talk about, how to succeed. So when I tell people just eat until you are full, eat to satiety, and I know some people will say, well, that's not the best way to lose weight for some people. I'm telling you, the first most important goal here is to change your relationship with food, change carbohydrate addiction, change sugar addiction, change, your capacity to deal with these social pressures. Once you do that, and it may take several months to a year or more for some people. Once you get there, then you are in a very special and free place. You're no longer plugged into the matrix. You have the capacity to eat what you really need to eat, and you can pick and choose, and you can make those decisions without them wrecking, you for months and months. Okay? All right, guys. I'd like you guys to check out ButcherBox. They're sponsoring this particular YouTube video. I've got a discount code for you guys to use. Get a couple free ribeyes. ButcherBox is a good product. They're putting out a grass-finished, hormone-free, antibiotic-free product that is going to help improve your nutrition. And I've said repeatedly, you don't have to eat grass-fed to get nutrition, but for those of you guys that want to do that, and there are some environmental reasons, and more so, what I'd like to see us continue to push for is a regenerative style approach. And so just grass-fed alone, in my view, is still not quite where we need to go. We need to be Alan Savory style, Joel Salatin style, Gabe Brown style, Will Harris style, White Oaks Pasture style, Bobby Gill style, Trent Hendricks style, ranching. I mean, that's what we need to go for. And I think you ranchers out there are listening, if you can do this with less input, with less expense, with less fertilizer requirement, less herbicide, with less pesticide requirements, maybe that's the way to do that. And I think it's something, and I think you'll find more and more people will support your product, particularly if you want to step up and be an early adopter. You'll get a lot of support from the community, and I'm here to support that. Like I said, I would like to see us restore human health. I would like to see us restore health of the soil, the biodiversity, and I think it's doable. And the naysayers out there, mostly the vegans, because they have this sort of ethical bent. Again, they're wrong about that too. They're wrong about pretty much everything. But you don't want to let some facts get in the way of your beliefs. And that's, they have one sort of paradigm where they believe this is the only solution. There are a lot of solutions out there. We just have the will to do it. We have to realize the healthiest food on the planet for human beings is meat. We should be eating more of it, not less. The healthiest thing for the soil will be well-managed ruminant animals. So we need more of that, not less of that. If we do that, if we have the will to do that, if strong people stand up against these corporations, strong people stand up against this political correctness BS and call this stuff out, we have a chance. I can guarantee you, if we all stay passive and we don't do what needs to be done, we'll be seeing a future that looks bleak. We'll be seeing more and more autoimmune disease and people with digestive problems and people with unexplained cancers and dementia. And it's not all vegan, it's not the point this is all veganism. This is standard American crap food. And standard American crap food is seed oils, sugars, processed grains. This is what meat will be replaced with. The vegans think we'll all be eating pulses and lentils and beans. That's not what will ever happen. That's not what does happen. What you'll see is fake meat like Beyond Meat, which we know is complete garbage. We'll see, Quest bars and other, keto products, proliferate. We'll see protein bars and pea protein bars and all this absolute garbage flood the marketplace to replace what should be what is the most nutritious product on the planet, which is meat. Okay, guys, like, subscribe. Vegans, I'm sure you'll tell me your usual nonsense. But anyway, and it's nice to see I keep getting vegan comments, a percentage of them saying, thank you for exposing the truth. I'm no longer a vegan. And that's going to happen more and more. And we see that. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you later and have a great day. Sorry, no cool background today. I just want to get this message out there. Take care.